Hey everybody, welcome to PixelBlips podcast, and I'm Andy. That's Dave. We've been going all week talking about the different E3 things, E3 2013,
Yes.
the big coming out party for the Xbox One, the PS4. This is it. This is our last one of these
Specifically the
shows.
PS4.
Yeah, this is our last one of these shows, and this is the Sony show, which we did last because Sony went last.
Yes.
We highly recommend you check out all of our other stuff, both our E3 preview shows, the other E3 shows, wrap-up shows we've done this week.
Yes.
And of course all of our other videos because we do them, we think they're cool. Behind us, you'll notice we're in kind of a different digs and the camera's different. This is my office / game room.
Yeah.
We'll be here for the next couple weeks just because of unforeseen issues. But let's talk about Sony.
Sony did not F around this year.
Sony...
They brought everything and more. They brought us cake, even though they told us there would be no cake.
Yeah. Sony decided that this was the year.
Yeah. Then, you know what? They did it.
That this was... they were going to not stop.
No. There was no giant enemy crab. There was no my body is ready.
There was Ridge
hey, guess
Racer.
what? Mic drop.
Yeah, there was no $5.99.
Yeah, price reveal for the PS4. No, that was not.
So, first off, what Sony did, we'll start at the start of the conference, kind of work through the press conference. This is probably going to be a longer episode because I'm super psyched.
Yes.
And
fine.
we have a lot of good things to say.
There's a
But
lot.
it wasn't perfect.
No, there were some issues.
So, like, they kind of started the press conference off with, once again, a shout out to the fans.
Yeah.
And saying, like, this is the history of PlayStation, and you're here. We're here because you're here.
Yeah.
And you are our bread and butter.
If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't still be around, which is true because we buy their stuff.
Yeah. So Sony, once again, in the Xbox preview show, we talked about how I wanted Microsoft to kind of be humble
And to come out and talk to us like people and not mindless money givers, whatever. Mindless consumers.
Sony did that, and they didn't have to. They came out and were like, we're here because of you. And, like, that's the one thing I've always liked about Jack Tretton. I've always heard that he's a really genuine guy. He seems like the type of dude that I could have a beer with at any time.
Yeah.
He's just relaxed, fun. He's super genuine. And he just kind of came out and was just, like, laid it out. Yeah. Like, after that opening sizzle reel, which Sony always does awesome-ass sizzle reels with tons of dubstep.
Gotta love the wub wub.
It was like, here's Jack Tretton, and he was just like, hi, everybody, like, normal. Like, we're here because of you. This is our PlayStation history. They really didn't mess around that much this year in their press conference.
No, it was
they kind of started with like, hey, The Last of Us is coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
It is the best rated video game since Skyrim, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right because and in the 3 hours I've spent with it, it's earned it. Outside of my ability to not be able to use the guns because I'm terrible at third-person shooters, I just melee kill everything. So it's made me have to get really good at stealth.
Yeah. And then they showed off... The funny thing is they showed off Last of Us, and then they showed off, like, a string of PlayStation 3 trailers. They showed off Gran Turismo 6, Puppeteer, which I think looks really cool.
That looks really
I have a
neat,
very big soft spot for 2D platformers.
Yeah.
Let's see what else they show off. They showed off a bunch of stuff. Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah. Which is that a PS3 or is that a PS4 game?
PS3. And that trailer looked totally different than what I thought that game was.
Yeah, like you.
Like I was like, wait, I thought she had superpowers of like some ghost and she was mental.
No, she's like
totally
some trained killer.
Jason Bourne. Like,
yeah.
So
it's really weird. Like when you saw that.
Interested in that game, but like I don't know if I want it.
Yeah, and it's
like
funny
I really wanted Heavy Rain. I really liked Heavy Rain.
Yeah, Heavy Rain was really good. The thing with Beyond was like it doesn't really explain what the link is. At least in the gameplay trailer that we saw, it doesn't explain what the link between her and what it all means with the two souls. But then when you're watching it, it's like she, it's cold. She falls over and she's basically dying. And the you see the camera pulls out of her and then goes and like bugs this guy.
Yeah.
And it gets the guy to come over. I think whatever it is that's got her is linked to her will not let her die until it is ready to let her die. Because there's another point when she comes to a ledge and she tries to fall off of it and she just goes like this and then it pushes her back up.
Interesting.
And it was, I think that's obviously it's a big mechanic in the game, but I don't know how you're going to get around it. I don't know what, like, if there's combat, what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because there was all that combat footage that they showed at the beginning, but it doesn't explain, like, it doesn't put it into context for you. So, but it's a really neat looking game so far.
So we also saw Batman.
Yeah, Batman Origins, Arkham Origins.
Yeah, with 1960s Batman suit.
Good.
Which.
Adam West, go.
If you can actually make Adam West's voice like overdub stuff, and like when I hit things, it go pow and biff and bam, like even better. But that's a good.
That's New Game Plus.
Yeah, that's a 100% good use of DLC.
Yeah,
we approve. Then they brought the Vita out, and they talked about the Vita and how they're not abandoning the Vita.
No.
And there's new Vita games coming, and they showed off
Tearaway,
which looked awesome. Killzone Mercenary once again looks awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of the stuff we'd already seen.
Mm-hmm.
And Walking Dead.
Yeah, the new Walking Dead.
Which it was a big shock for me. I like Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I want those extra episodes.
The 400 days or whatever it is that's coming out. That looks really
days.
good.
I'm
going
to
to
buy that for my Vita. Yeah. Because it would be so much better to touch the screen when I want to pick shit up.
Whenever Lee needs to pick something up, or
instead of like,
if when you're being attacked by a zombie, you have to shake the Vita because it's got the gyroscope in it.
I mean, we went over it when we talked about it for Game of the Year. Like, that was the worst part of that game for me, is like having to maneuver my character into just the right spot so I could pick something up.
Sometimes, yeah.
It was
that was always a
sort of broken.
But that's kind of like that's just a point and click adventure type thing.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be in the right spot to get it to register. We have to have the camera looking at it the right way.
So that looked really cool, and I was really excited they were actually bringing a bundle of that out for the Vita.
Yeah, it's going to be the game plus 400 days.
Yeah, 400 days bundle, and I was like, that's really cool. It shows.
Well, probably be like $15-20.
Yeah, why I would 100% prefer them have announced a new game at the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they did that and showed that there's a bundle for the Vita kind of reasserts
we're
still behind this thing.
We know they're working on season 2, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're working on season 2 for this, but this is, I think, a parallel. Like, this is happening at about the same time. I mean, it could be happening at any time.
It's the first 400 days at a gas station or a truck stop
or wherever it is.
Yeah, after the zombie apocalypse, and you kind of work through it.
That's
through
cool.
different characters. So I'm really down for that.
That's cool. It seems like that's probably a good 3 or 4 hour thing.
And that was one of the things I thought the first Walking Dead didn't really do really well, is it didn't show you the zombie apocalypse. You kind of dealt more with the aftermath.
Yeah, because in the first episode of that game specifically, you're on your way to prison. Like, Lee is on his way to prison, and then the cop just veers off the road because he hit a guy.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have to deal with the aftermath of all that. It doesn't show how it happens. It just shows what happens after.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what, like, Last of Us is doing, too. Like,
yeah. Well, Last of Us takes, 20 years?
20 years after, but the game starts when the apocalypse starts.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, there's a little thing, and then it fades out and says 20 years. You'll see when you get it in a week or so.
So I would have preferred more Vita games.
Yeah, we both would have preferred more Vita games, I think.
But I kind of think, like, after last year's E3, where we got, like, hardly any Vita games during the press conference.
This is better than nothing.
Well, it seemed like the same amount of Vita was in that press conference as in this press conference, the 2012 press conference, 2013. And then we got so much Vita at the Gamescom conference that, like, I think it's going to be that again.
We'll just get a lot of it in Europe when it happens. So that's cool, though. I mean, it's good that they brought more Vita to the stage, or some Vita to the stage, and they're like, they took care of it up front. But then, on
their show floor, apparently, like, Stephen Totillo from Kotaku was like, posted a video like, the people that think there are no Vita games, like, here is 30 different Vita games hanging out in the Sony booth with kiosks and everything. Like, they're all here.
Yeah, they have all this stuff. I mean, it's just, you gotta buy the games. And, Vita games may not sell well in retail, but a lot of, I think they said like 40%.
Yeah, well, they said like 60% of their income, 60% of sales from the Vita
are coming from the store. So, of course, it's not going to sell well in retail, but you can get a lot of that stuff off Amazon and whatever anyway.
So Vita, like, the message I took away from their PS3 and Vita part, the first part of their press conference, was like, hey, these are still here.
We're going to support these for a while.
Still new, like, we put out a new GT5 bundle, GTA 5 bundle.
Yeah, they're going to
put out a new Walking Dead Vita bundle. Like, you're still here. You're still going to get it. It was kind of like when Microsoft did their new Xbox design. They're like, this is still here. You can still get it. Like, we're still 100% behind this. We're Sony. We made PlayStation 2 games until like
last year. In fact, they still make PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah, like, so you're still going to get games for this. So don't worry, guys. Like, we're still pushing out PSP games. So it's cool.
That Sony's got a pretty good long history of supporting their consoles for well beyond
after they should.
What should have been the life cycle for this console.
Yeah. So then we moved on to Andrew House.
Yeah. House comes out.
Rock the house. And they showed off the console. And they were like, I liked how they like got it like totally 100% out of the way. They were like, here it is.
Here's the box, and it's like a trapezoid, or not? Is it a trapezoid? No,
it's a box.
It's a parallelogram because it's slanted.
And it's apparently the size of the second version of the PS3.
So the square one that is still football shaped. Like when you look at it from the side, it's still kind of...
Yeah, but it's a lot thinner than the other one?
Yeah.
Not the fat.
Not the fat one, the slim.
Yeah.
The PS3 slim, and then there's the PS3 even slimmer.
Yes. So it's about the size of the second one.
Yeah.
Apparently. And it looked good. It looked like I wasn't, once again, I haven't really cared because I knew it was going to be a black rectangle, but it continues to be a black rectangle.
Yeah, and it looks like it has a slot loader in it. I don't know.
It does have a slot loader.
So it's just like the first two versions of the PS3 where it's got a slot load. It's got a couple USB ports on the front for you to plug the controllers in.
Yep.
No composite out or component out. No component out on these.
It has HDMI on the back and
for either system, like the Xbox One.
They're like HDMI on the back, and we have a digital optical out.
Yeah.
Which
for your audio.
Thank God they're still supporting digital optical because I still have a digital optical tuner.
Yeah. So it's the new hardware. We've seen it, and it's real nice looking, and it looks like it'll fit well in anything.
There's a funny story. Mark Cerny, the guy that designed the inside of it, tweeted that he apparently hadn't seen it yet.
I had no idea that that's what this looks like.
I
know what the guts look like.
You're building the insides of it. You know what the outside of it looks like? Oh, I guess the outside could be any like plastic shell. Like, it doesn't really matter.
As long as it fits, it's good. So he knew that it had to be at least this big.
Yeah, but it looks good, and that's better than looking bad.
Yeah.
So then they brought out, and then the funny thing happened. They brought out a bunch of video sharing apps.
Yeah.
And saying like it's gonna have Netflix, it's gonna have Flickster, it's gonna have Amazon Unbox, it's gonna have Redbox, it's gonna have all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dude from Sony Pictures Entertainment came out and said, hey, we made Amazing Spider-Man, we did all this great stuff. We're doing stuff for
movies.
PS4.
Like we're
movies for gamers, content for gamers.
Yeah. So similar to the Halo show that Microsoft is putting out.
Yeah.
Sony's going to do stuff like that. I don't know.
And what I think that means is like Sony Computer Entertainment has always had a video production house underneath them. They're the people that handled things like Core and the Tester.
Yeah. Okay.
And like all that stuff went away really quickly, and I think it was because Sony came in and said like, we're just gonna like fold you into Sony Pictures. And go to
you guys are gonna start making content for the PSN and stuff like
so that. I think you're gonna get a little higher, hopefully a higher grade.
Yeah, let's hope. But it would
not
be
that
kind
the Tester
neat.
or Core were bad.
Yeah,
them both.
The thing with Core was it was kind of like I don't want to say it was like a Nintendo Direct, but it would be neat to see something like that come out of this.
Well, that was Core. Core was basically a Nintendo Direct / magazine.
A Sony Direct thing.
Yeah.
It would be kind of cool, like to see them do like a monthly thing that's every month you get. Here's a message from all the guys at Sony, and they're like,
that was cool.
This is the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about every week. This is stuff we're working on all this stuff. Here's some behind the scenes stuff for the new God of War, whatever.
That was cool.
I never really watched it.
Yeah, I know. No one did.
That's why it's gone.
That's why it's gone. Anyway,
but something new like that.
At that moment, like when I was on Twitter, I was like, the dude left, and I was like, well, at least he didn't have a Wonder Book. Like, at least. Like, at least he didn't have a Wonder Book. Like, that was I knew that was the boring part of the press conference. I was like, at least he didn't have a Wonder Book. Okay. So then they started with the games.
Yeah.
And they were like, here is Infamous Second Son. Here is Killzone Shadowfall. We didn't really get a new announcement from first party.
No, we didn't really get any new games. We just saw more of the games that have already been announced.
Yeah.
And did they show any of the Metal Gear stuff running on PS4 hardware? Not in the conference, but we know that it's coming to that. I'm trying to think. I didn't write all the games down that they showed. I wrote all the other stuff down.
So then a really cool thing happened. Adam Boyes is apparently the head of third-party publishing for the Sony Network.
Yeah.
Brought out indies. And they did it in like such a really cool way. Like he was sitting out there, he was talking about things, and then like next to him on stage, a screen would pop up,
and a guy was standing there, and they would
playing
say
his indie game, and it was him, the dude that designed it, playing his indie game.
One of the guys from the team. And they did that for like 7 or 8 different guys.
Yeah, because they led with Transistor, which looks really cool, from the guys that did Bastion.
Yeah.
And then they showed a bunch of stuff, but they showed the thing I'm happy about is the guys that made Scott Pilgrim versus
Oh yeah,
versus
they're
the
making
World,
that
the video
middle
game.
or the Metal Slug looking.
Yeah,
game.
they're making the Metal Slug looking game, and like I was so peeved when that was on Kickstarter because they were like, we're kickstarting it for PC only, and I think one other platform, but it wasn't a PlayStation platform, so I didn't have it. And I was like, I can't give you guys money even though I want to. I think this game, I thought this is a great idea. Like I really want to give you money, and then it's like, not only do you not have to kickstart it, Andy, but it's coming to PlayStation 4.
Yeah, so you'll be
It is
able to buy it for like
leading-
$15 on
Yeah, it is.
PSN.
So all these games were leading on console, leading their console space on PS4. So of course they'll be on PC probably first.
They'll probably be on the Xbox One at some point.
At some point, but if you want to play indies, like Sony kind of like put their foot in the sand, like
yeah, and they've also come out and said
you're playing it on the Vita, you're playing on the PS4.
Yeah, they've also come out and said, you know, with some of the tool sets that they've given developers, it's like you can self-publish.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you think your build's done, you know,
Yeah,
you can push it through cert. There's no big deal.
Like
Pop that thing
whenever
out.
you're ready to put it through cert, we will put it through cert, and it can go in the schedule.
Yep.
Like I think that's what one of the overriding messages that like the indie groups have been hearing in this E3. Like they were hearing at GDC. There was a very big push at GDC with like the Vita and stuff.
Yeah.
And things like Retro City Rampage and people coming out and like, dudes, Sony's really got it together. Like I know everyone thought Sony was the evil empire, but they're really good at this. And this E3 was kind of Sony's, that little part of their press conference was their kind of indie coming out moment of we're really not effing around. Like you can really
we want the indie
self-publish,
guys.
like,
we want you guys to be.
and like the rumors are like
games on
a lot of
system.
the indie groups have like Sony's sending them dev kits.
Yeah.
And they still can't get Microsoft One dev kits. They can't even publish through Microsoft.
No.
Online now.
No.
So like, Sony is literally like throwing money at the indies and saying, "Hey,"
which is great because then you get all these games that you wouldn't normally see.
Well, and you think about it, like only one of them needs to take off, right?
Yeah,
that's
only
what we
one or
always
two
say.
of them need to happen.
Well, only one. Like you only need one Angry Birds.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, as long as if Sony does the right thing and just scatter shots the whole thing, maybe they'll hit the target.
Yeah. And you know it's great for these guys who've been working on games for a while or were working on games and then broke off to do their own studios or whatever. Now they have a shot at going back to being full-time game developers. They get this and that, and it's really good for the industry to see. To get these independent guys out there who have these really great ideas but could never get the money to do it because some guy in a suit up at the top says, I can't make 8 million. I can't sell 20 million copies of this, so we're not going to do this.
And I think it did a really good job of like in Microsoft's press conference, which we'll go over this more later.
Next week, probably.
In Microsoft press conference, they said we got Minecraft, so we're behind indies.
You had Minecraft last time.
And then Sony came out in their press conference and said like, here are 6 games you've only barely heard of.
Yeah, you might have seen.
We are behind. Yeah, we are behind indies.
Yeah.
So like, I think that was a lot of what Sony was doing when we talk. Well, we'll talk later about them punching Microsoft in the throat. So then, the indie guys were like, it was kind of this really big coming out. People were hooting and hollering. Everyone's really excited. So then the indie guys go away.
Yeah.
And then Jack Trenton comes out, right?
Yes. I don't remember the
it
specific
was
sequence
before,
of events, but yes.
It was before the Ubisoft stuff. Was it? Or was it after?
Remember.
No, it was after the Ubisoft stuff. So then Ubisoft came out, and they brought
AC4.
Black Flag, Assassin's Creed.
I'm
Black
calling
Flag.
it Assassin's Creed 4. You don't need to add the Black Flag to it. We know what you're talking about. But yes, they brought out Assassin's Creed.
Is it 4? I thought it was a side story.
No, it's Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It is. They were going to call it Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but because they wanted they wanted to just start up with this instead of having like Brotherhood and all Revelations again. They just wanted to. This is AC4. Go.
Okay, so they brought that out. That looked really good.
And then it crashed.
The video crashed. That was funny. Once again,
I felt bad for the guy too because he's just sitting there and he's like bobbing his head.
Do I do nothing?
Do I throw the controller down and run away? I don't know. And then they just kind of went to black, and then they brought up the
Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. And once again, Watch Dogs is amazing. If you want more here about what we thought about Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs, please refer to the third-party video.
Yeah.
So then the cool thing happened. So everyone's riding pretty high at this point.
Yeah.
Like we know we're getting PS3 still. We know we're getting Vita still. We know we're getting, we know what PS4 looks like.
Yeah.
We're getting all these indie games.
Yeah,
Sony's
we're getting all
bringing
this
the indie
cool
games.
stuff.
And
So.
we're getting all this stuff from Assassin's Creed and the Aveline add-on missions and the special stuff in Watch Dogs. So everyone's pretty hyped.
Yep.
And then Jack Trenton comes out.
Again.
And says, hey guys, no DRM.
Yeah. They will
there
not
was
impose...
like a 60-second standing ovation.
Yeah, it was just like everybody just went, holy crap, that's awesome. They came out and they said, we're not going to impose any restrictions on being able to buy, sell, and trade used games. Physical copies of the games.
They're like, it will work now as it has worked before.
If you have the disc and the disc isn't tore the hell up, you can play this game.
Which is once again, we talked about before, like, I thought the reason Sony hadn't like come out and said their online thing, I thought it was going to be similar to Microsoft, just because I didn't think publishers would go along with.
Well, and after the conference, somebody had asked them, what are you going to do about that? And it's like, if publishers want DLC, they have to take care of it. It's all on them to do it.
They were like, if publishers want to do DRM, that's fine.
But DRM, my bad.
They have to do, like, it has to be online passes like it was. Like, we are not building that stuff in on the system side.
We're not going to put that as part of our infrastructure.
100% has to be on them. So, like, it has to be in EA's Origin servers that you log into or something, which is not on us. Like, we are not doing that. Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah, and because it basically tells them, tells people who can't buy an Xbox One for whatever reason, don't go buy a 360, buy a PS4.
Yeah. But he was like, no DRM, standing ovation.
Yeah.
Does not have to check in, standing ovation.
Yeah, like they
that had to be like the easiest home run Jack Tretton ever hit. Like, we literally were not planning on doing any
He hit a
of
home
this.
run off of a T-ball. Like a T-ball tee.
This was the easiest thing we ever had to say.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, we're going to win this console generation by doing what we're already doing. Like, that's amazing.
It's a little early to call them the victor, but they are definitely way ahead with the fans right now.
Way ahead with the fans. Way ahead in pre-orders, apparently. I've heard rumors everywhere
like
from 8 to 1 to 3 to 1 in favor of the PS4.
Yeah.
And I know, like, when they said that, I was like...
If you were on the fence before, you were definitely not anymore. You fell on Sony's side.
But it literally was like going through, all this stuff. And they released
point by point, too, right?
Yeah, just like tearing Microsoft's press release apart. Like,
you never have to check in.
You never have to check in. It is region free. It is like... Yeah. You can remove the hard drive, like, all this crap.
Which is good, because you'll probably want to put a 2 terabyte drive in that thing.
Eventually.
I don't even know, did they say the size of the hard drive? Is it going to be 500 gigs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's a 500
gigabytes. Remember, kids, anything over a 20 gigabyte is a gigabyte.
Why is it a gigabyte?
Because you really don't need it.
Yeah, you do.
Well, you do now.
Yeah, because
you're doing full video game installs off an Xbox One Blu-ray disc.
Or downloading Uncharted 3 single player is 40 gigs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to download it this weekend, and it was like, I don't have room on my hard drive for this. And I have an 80 gig.
Did I download that? I think I downloaded that. Well, I maybe just added it to my account. Anyway, I have it on disc. Do you want to borrow the disc?
No, I'm good.
Okay, anyway.
I've got.
That's the good thing with Sony is that
you can borrow the disc with the PS4.
That was the best thing about it. So when he made that announcement during the press conference, Sony shot out a YouTube video that said, "This is how sharing works on the PlayStation 4."
And it was just like a little, like a 12-second thing.
Not even very long. So there's Shuei Yoshida, and
there's
he's
a guy and a guy, and he's like, "Here."
He is like, "Here's how you share a game on the PlayStation 4," and it like goes to a logo that says "Step 1."
And it just sits there for a second.
Sharing the game. Here you go. Thanks. Done.
Yeah. there's no crap involved.
Like it was literally like that. Just shows you that like not only was Sony like not effing around on their side, they were not gonna eff around with Microsoft.
No.
They were like, you just left yourself open like a giant ass whale.
Yeah.
And we are gonna harpoon you.
Yeah, and and it's good for guys like us because we trade games, every now and then. I'll let him borrow Last of Us if he doesn't get it anytime soon.
I'll probably need to borrow it.
I'm not 20 hours and I've only played 3. So
yeah, well, when you get done with it, I'm not gonna have the story anytime soon. So
okay.
Anyway,
and then they announced the price point.
Oh god. And actually, before they announced the price point, they announced Destiny, and they showed off Destiny.
They showed the Destiny,
which I thought Destiny
running on
really
their system,
good.
And it looks great.
And
as well it should
that game
because it's running on a super awesome PC, and this is from
the Bungie Activision,
the Bungie guys, and those guys know how to make a shooter look really awesome.
Like I was really impressed with Titanfall earlier in the day, and then when I saw, because I was like, oh, Titanfall and Destiny are gonna be the same kind of game. And then when I saw Destiny, like the look of it, the color palette was what really struck. Like, because I remember when they started the demo, it was just like a shot of a lake and a sunset.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a shooter game?
This is a shooter game.
Wait, I thought all shooter games had to be black and gray. What happened?
Brown and gray? No.
Like, that was the other thing with, like, the new Killzone game. I was like, wait, there's too much color in here for it to be a Killzone game. What are you guys doing to me?
I mean, they have to keep the visual cues, right? Like, all your Hellgas guys have to have red or orange, because that's how you know that they're bad guys.
Yeah.
But, you know...
But, like, the new... In Destiny, it was amazing, but the new Killzone game was just different. That it was like, oh, like...
There's color.
There's color. That's green.
Blue,
why is there green? Why are there trees?
Blue exists in this universe?
Why are there trees? Are we... Anyway, but then when Destiny came up, I was like, that looked like one of those old, like, Western-style paintings. You know, when I say, like, you expected a cowboy to ride up.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome. So I want that game.
Yeah, and Destiny looks really good. If I get it, I'm probably going to get it for the PC.
Why?
Because I can't do this. Unless they let me use a mouse and keyboard. And then I'll buy it from the PS4. Yeah. So then they announced the price point.
Yes.
And the price point is $4.99 or $3.99 US.
We've already had the pizza. I bet people were expecting to see pizza on the table.
He got the pizza.
We already got the pizza.
We already ate it all.
It was good. It was a good pizza bet. It
It wasn't just one; it was two pizzas. I had some too. So
yeah. So $3.99, $100 less than the competition. Yes. But it doesn't come with the camera,
which apparently is not really required anyway.
Yeah, the camera is not 100% required. They're like, it is just as required as the PlayStation Eye is for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, you don't need it.
Some games will use it. It definitely enhances your...
Some games... I mean, you need it to do move stuff.
Yeah, it enhances your experience. You don't need it.
No.
I'm still going to get it because they showed off this awesome little demo on their show floor with little robots. Mm-hmm. And I was like, For me, I love augmented reality games.
Uh-huh.
And, that looked amazing. Like, the fact that I can look at my TV and like, oh, there's a little baby robot sitting on my lap. Like, I just get tons of S's and G's out of that.
That's kind of... What are you doing with that baby robot on your lap, Andy?
Turning him into a Decepticon.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
So there was was there was one thing that they kind of snuck in there that
oh, yeah. Just this is so stealth. And this is going to be one of the things that gets counted against Sony.
Yeah.
But they did it in such a way that I almost don't want to count it against them.
Well, I mean, okay. So if we've said for a while now, if you are a Sony person, if you have a Vita and you have a PS3, you probably should have a PlayStation Plus account, right? So all this multiplayer stuff and all this stuff that they're talking about that you can do online with your buddies is now one of the only things that is locked behind a PlayStation Plus account.
The multiplayer aspect
of most games.
Most games. Free-to-play games won't be.
Okay.
Indie games that self-publish, it'll be up to them.
Okay.
But I think they have to provide their server structure.
Yeah.
Structure. But most normal retail games, if you want to play online multiplayer, you're gonna have to be a PlayStation Plus person.
And the way that they kind of said, okay, you got to do this, but if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you get Drive Club PlayStation Plus Edition.
Yeah. Which the PlayStation Plus Edition, according to Shuei Yoshida, is going to be the same basic game, all the courses and stuff, but you're going to have to buy cars.
So you buy like $3 for the different cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
And different cars and like extra courses and stuff. So it'll be like one of the kind of how MAG was in the early days of PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
You got like to level 20. That's fine. And then we're gonna go from there.
Okay.
We buy more stuff. Kind of a freemium model. I always like that term.
Yeah.
You can still play the total game, but if you want to go the extra mile,
you got to start paying us some money.
So how they actually announced this was hilarious because it was in that video, the sharing video. At the bottom of the sharing video, it said, "Hey, PlayStation Plus required for all online play, multiplayer play on PlayStation 4."
And there you go.
And I was like, it was like, at that point, that people were so hyped and so happy
that they didn't care.
Freaking care.
And
especially since like, here's the thing. You already have to pay on the competitor, Xbox Gold, for $60 a year. Now I know people don't pay $60 a year. I understand that you get it on sale. I understand that you can get it for cheap. I understand that you haven't spent $60 for Xbox Gold forever, but it retails at $60.
Yes.
PlayStation Plus retails at $50
for a year,
and it offers you infinitely more amount of shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're already a PlayStation Plus subscriber, it won't matter, right? Yeah. Like, you'll still get all your games.
It'll roll over, just like the same thing.
The same deal with the Xbox Live. You'll get all the games that you've already picked up, all your purchases and stuff, if the games don't work on your PS4, that's because they're not PS4 games. But they're going to continue to support PlayStation Plus for the Vita and the PS3 for the foreseeable future.
Yep.
They're also so the only thing that you have to pay for if you want to play multiplayer games, which I don't. So I'm going to be playing for PlayStation Plus for a while anyway, and I'm not going to be playing multiplayer games. So this
but I think
doesn't really affect
you
me anyway.
My thing is you don't know.
I mean, I might. I'll probably try Drive Club and think it's awesome.
Maybe you get Drive Club and you're like, oh, I really want that Lamborghini.
Okay.
Or I really want to play.
I want to drive that Gremlin. That's what I want to drive. I want to drive the Gremlin.
Freaking you go, son.
That's right.
Anyway, but so the thing is Sony came out and said all of our network things, the new network sharing stuff, all this profile stuff, video recording, all this stuff, even your Netflix, Amazon Flix, all this stuff, that's all not behind the paywall.
The only thing that's behind the paywall is the discounts on the games, the free games that you
instant game collection,
the instant game collection, and the playing multiplayer.
That's it.
So everything else that the PlayStation 4 does through the online stuff is all part of what you get when you get it. You never have to pay Sony another dime.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
That that infrastructure for those online multiplayer games is expensive. They are high users. They need to charge
something, especially now with the way that they're talking about
is the cloud games going to be part of PlayStation Plus? It would be really great if it was, but I'm starting to think it won't be.
Yeah.
I think might be an extra cost to you.
Yeah, that may be an additional subscription.
$10 a month or something. I don't know.
Maybe not that. Maybe it'll. If you're already PlayStation Plus, you could buy a year of it for $30 or something.
Yeah, we'll see.
We don't know anything about how the Gaikai stuff's going to work.
Yeah. So they came out and they played lip service to the Gaikai stuff. It won't be ready at launch.
No, it'll be out early next year.
It'll be launching in 2014. Yeah. It'll be PS3 games to start. We're going to grow the catalog from there. That's all they said. So when they say grow the catalog from there, I'm wondering if does that mean you guys are going to grow the catalog into PSN games? Does that mean you're going to grow the catalog into PS2 games?
Or PS1 games?
Or,
can you play PS Vita and PSP games on your big TV?
Those SNK titles, the TurboGrafx titles, how far down this rabbit hole do you want to go?
Because, they could go...
Because I'm 100% fine with any depth.
Yeah, it's as long as... and
if I can play Ni no Kuni on my Vita... sold. I don't care how much you need to charge me.
Yeah, because that would be a great way to do it, because it seems like it lends not particularly well to the Vita. It would be nice to see a Vita version of that game, or something.
Damn, it'd be pretty.
Yeah, it would. It'd be super pretty. But yeah,
okay, so
games like that would work out well.
So that was in the press conference, and they dropped the mic, $3.99, and walked out, and everyone was aghast.
I don't think he really. He didn't.
No, he didn't
literally drop the mic. But that would have been. That's the kind of thing you're thinking about, right? It's just
Bam!
Badass news. Drop. I'm out.
$3.99. Fine.
Yeah, and I guess somebody on one of those post E3 shows kind of gave him a mic, and he just kind of went like this.
So going forward in the week, Sony showed off all their Vita stuff. I think my YouTube thing was definitely full of PlayStation Live broadcast stuff.
Yeah,
of them hey, here's that Mickey Castle of Illusion stuff. Here's Epic Mickey for the Vita. Here's freaking 1001 Spikes, which looks really cool. Splunky is coming to the Vita. And it's like why didn't you tell me all this stuff before? This is a lot of information to get from my YouTube feed.
It's okay. Gave you something to do.
Yeah. So Sony was just messaging on point the rest of the time.
Yep.
Shuei Yoshida, Kaz Hirai, Jack Tretton, what's his name? The dude that runs Kohler, that runs PlayStation Network. They were all hey, here's what we're doing, and we are for gamers, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna get through that first year. And after that first year, we might add cable box stuff. We might do all this other stuff. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
I don't know about
first year is going to be games.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I would like to see them. I would almost like to see them start just being doing the HBO Go stuff and things like that. If they could come up with an app for say I have Time Warner. They had a Time Warner app on the PS4. You could then do all the Time Warner stuff through your TV or through your PS4.
On your Time Warner app on your iPad.
Yeah, or your phone or whatever.
They're that's we're all that stuff. We're not going to say we're working on it, but we're definitely looking into it. But this first year's games.
Yeah, the first
and
probably a year and a half is probably
this share function infrastructure built. That's what things. And if you remember our preview shows, I said I really wanted to know how all that stuff worked.
And
they really didn't talk about it in the press conference.
No.
They talked about it a little bit. They were friends and all this stuff. But then halfway through the week, they shot out this video that actually showed you how all of it works.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was like this dude like in his garage. I don't know why you have a high def TV and PlayStation 4 in your garage.
Hey, why not? It's his man cave.
Yeah. Anyway, so and he like sat down, started up his PS4, saw that one of his friends, one of his female friends, got a trophy in Knack, starts playing Knack to try and beat to get the trophy.
Yeah.
He can't figure out how to do it. He jumps to one of her videos, figures out how to do it.
Yeah.
She texts him from her phone using the PlayStation app saying like, hey, are you playing Knack? One of his other friends calls him through the PlayStation earpiece and says like, hey dude, I'm in Killzone, I'm getting my butt kicked.
Come help me.
Come play Killzone. The dude's like, cool, fine. He jumps out of Knack, goes straight to the store, starts downloading the multiplayer version of Killzone, jumps immediately back to Knack and starts playing again.
Which,
and then like it kept going like
that all seems well and good, and I hope that Sony figures out how to make that happen in a timely manner, because with the new games that they announced for the PS3, right? It took me 3 or 4 days to download 14 gigs worth of data.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the network needs to be fast.
That's the problem. Like I'm
when
really
you're
hoping,
running wireless though.
It doesn't matter. It would have taken that long anyway. Yes, Andy has knees. Look, Andy has knees.
Anyway,
no,
I'm itchy.
Itchy knees.
Pins and needles. So, like that's of course a PR built ad campaign, but like
who knows how well this tech's gonna work in real life?
Yeah, but if that's how it works on the best day, I am fine with the not best day.
Yeah, if the not best day is
because if I can like flip open my phone, not my phone is old, but if I had a new phone and I could flip open my phone and go, hey, Dave's playing The Last of Us and my friend Brian's playing the Sega Genesis collection.
Yeah,
I need to get home and jump on so I can play it.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
We can.
That's what I want.
Factions and Last of Us,
and like, or like if I'm at work and I'm like, oh, I want to be home and play, but I'm on my coffee break. Like, well, let me just flip up to the cloud or something and play Killzone through the cloud into my Vita.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool, but I don't know if your Wi-Fi would work out that well.
Well, we'll see.
That's the other problem. Like,
yeah, there's always limits in bandwidth.
There's a bottleneck somewhere.
Not for Google Fiber people, though.
That's not you.
Not yet. So it's all this really cool tech. They did show it off. They just wasn't a central part.
Yeah.
That kind of leads me to believe it might not be 100% ready.
It's probably not quite ready.
Or this is going to be one of the things we get at Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show. So the other thing they showed at the press conference, Square Enix.
Oh yeah, they came out with 14, and they showed off.
They showed off what 14 is going to look like. They're like, hey, 14, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 together. Boom.
Yeah, and if you have the PS3 version when it comes out and you buy the PS4 version, you can then transfer your character to that, and you can continue to play your character, which makes sense because a lot of that information is probably saved server side anyway.
So then they showed Versus 13.
Or
but
did
wait, it's 15.
Yes.
They're like, you've waited for it long enough. We're just gonna make
it 15. We'll just call it 15. And then there was something like in the text that was like, and you've been waiting for the 15th coming, and it just changes the Versus 13 into 15.
So then after that, they came back on and they said, hey, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Just out of nowhere, and that's going to be on the Xbox One also.
And so is 15.
Final Fantasy 15.
It's supposed to also be an Xbox One. But it did a good job of like Sony checking the boxes.
Yeah.
Of saying, hey,
we know you guys.
Game, racing game,
shooter game,
RPG game.
Yeah. Here's all these
MMO,
games.
Like we've got them. Like Sony showed you that they have.
And all these little indie games and stuff. Yeah. They were not messing around this year. They went out swinging and
man, did it pay off.
Yeah, it did.
They've already adjusted.
Not messing around with Microsoft.
They've already adjusted sales projections for the PS4.
Yep.
They've just adjusted sales projections for the Vita going into the holiday season.
Yep.
I mean, it's.
And I'm still waiting. Like, because I was looking on GameStop, right? They had all these different bundles on GameStop, and they had like the.
Don't buy any of the bundles on GameStop.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, like, other retailers will probably
like
have
they're not a good deal. They're literally just like buying it and another thing.
Piecemeal. Yeah. They had these bundles, and it was like, okay, you could buy Assassin's Creed and the system, and it's $460 or whatever. I'm still waiting for somebody to come out with and go, hey, we're gonna get you a PS4 and a Vita and like an 8 gig card for your Vita. Something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would sell well for people who don't have a Vita already.
Well,
and with all the connectivity with the Vita, they really need to do something like that. Maybe not a Sony official bundle, and I'm sure your box retailers are going to have something like that because I remember seeing. I mean,
dude, being able to
bundles
play
like that.
Being able to play, sit on your couch, and play Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah, on your Vita.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
So, man, it's just really good. So, Dave.
Yes.
Do you want to do separate grades like we did for Microsoft?
I think we're both going to give it an A plus.
Yes.
Yeah.
An A. They weren't perfect.
No. I mean,
they had bad news.
The whole you have to pay for multiplayer thing. Yeah. It's understandable bad news, but it's still not news that somebody wanted to hear.
Yeah, it's like a flat tire. Like, of course, it's going to go flat eventually. You just don't want it to happen when you're wanting to drive to work.
I think Sony did a really good job. They probably out of the 3 things that I watched, because I was unable to watch a lot of third-party stuff, they did very well. And they came out and they did exactly what we thought they were going to do.
They kept on message throughout all of E3, on YouTube, on PlayStation Network, on everything, and just like continually going, hey, games.
Lots of games.
And that Greatness Awaits ad is pretty good, which since we're on YouTube is probably up there.
It's somewhere in the vicinity of this picture.
Somewhere in this area, like there's a Greatness Awaits ad. You should probably click on it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of those old Sony ads. It was like, you're badass. Do it. So is there anything, as we wrap up, is there anything you wish you could have seen that you didn't see?
I think I saw a lot of what I expected. There was the whole prediction show. I was kind of really hoping we'd be able to do like a counter of things that Dave got right, things that Andy got right.
Oh, well.
But that's,
you can't always do that.
No. I saw most of what I wanted to see. I was really excited about Killer Instinct that came out of the Microsoft conference. I'm really, I'm glad that Sony announced a price point that I can live with.
Yes.
$400 is way better than $600 for the PS3 when it first came out.
Or $500 for the Xbox One.
Or the $500 for the Xbox One.
I mean, budgets are still tight, and I think Sony kind of understood that.
Yeah, and
that's why that camera's not bundled in, even though I'm probably going to buy the camera.
And the camera is probably not really going to get utilized well anyway. Like, it's an optional thing. It's probably going to be like
the PlayStation Eye.
Like the Eye is. Yeah. It's one of those things that developers use it if they want. If they don't want, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
They'll definitely make new Move games.
Yeah. So to wrap up our E3 wrap up, everyone did an excellent job. Did pretty good.
Pretty good most of the part.
There were falters
everywhere.
Like serious falters in the case of Microsoft post
conference at Microsoft. Yeah.
But everyone brought their A game, and I think if there is one overriding message coming out of E3 2013, it is that like console gaming as we know it, gaming as we grew up with it, is not ever going away. People care about this and want it to
There's
keep
a
going.
lot of people who not only care about it, but they also make their living off of it.
Yeah.
So if it went away, there'd be a lot more unemployed people.
Like all those mobile app makers are looking at the PS4 and salivating.
Well,
that's what
especially with
stuff showed.
The Vita being an option for a lot of mobile developers. They can almost, I don't want to say super easily, but they can port their games over from iPhone.
They can hit PlayStation
iPad.
Mobile and triple publish on PS3, PS Vita, and Sony phones.
Yep.
So
using the Unity engine.
Yeah, totally weird. This is crazy. I never thought it would be like this. Yeah. And it is a total about face from where Sony was at the start of the at the announcement of the PS3.
Yep.
So
they've learned a lot in 8 years.
They have. Don't forget to spay and neuter your Lombax. We'll see you next week.